This is the Independent Dealer Podcast. Education by dealers for dealers. Now, here are your hosts, Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson.
Okay, here we are with Bill in GenZ Automotive Solutions.
Yes, sir.
Automotive Solutions.
And if you see, look guys, a EV charger in the background, so we're going to bring you some EV stuff today.
Yeah. So Bill, what is your company and how can you help the independent dealer?
Yeah, GenZ Automotive is a combination of two companies. One provides F&I solutions and the other one provides EV solutions, EV charging equipment, software, and EVSCs. What we found in the independent market, there hasn't been enough attention focused on their EV business. And as a matter of fact, at this NIADA, we're the only EV charging provider here.
Yes, it's the first time we've ever seen a charger
for sure.
in the expo. So to us, it was something we really need to talk about. And as y'all know, I own a Tesla. Jeff drives a Tesla, and Jeff, you sell a lot of EVs. So I think this is interesting to talk both sides.
Yeah.
What can we look forward to with VSCs for service contracts when it comes to EVs? What do our technicians look for? And can we charge for charging at our dealership? Can we turn into a gas station essentially?
You can make money charging for sure. There's definitely not enough public charging out there.
Yeah.
One of the things that we found, and we deal with the new car franchises as well, and all the manufacturers kind of, I want to say, forced it down to their dealerships.
For a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Until this week, right? And they all rolled them back.
And what we thought in the independent side, because there is no forced, market, but we've seen at the auctions now, we're seeing more EVs coming through the auctions, and these used car dealerships are taking a chance and saying, you know what, I'd like to sell that Tesla and make some money.
Yeah.
So one, we can give them the EVSC to be able to sell it with a manufacturer type, service contract, right?
Yeah.
Which gives you the protection you need to sell it. But then to get you into the charging space, if you sell enough vehicles, you can we created a ChargeClub that works like airline miles. So the more VSCs you sell, you earn miles, and you can use those credits towards your charging hardware to get charging hardware for free. So it's really low investment for an independent dealer to get into the space.
Yeah, and let's start. This might take a little longer than what we talked about here, Jeff. But when we think about EVs, the issue is the battery, right? That's probably your number one thought of failure.
Yep.
So we got battery, and then we got electric motors that are failures. What are we seeing? I mean, most EVs aren't old enough to worry about the battery yet. What are these VSCs covering, and how often are we seeing failures?
Yeah, the EVSC that we've come out with does cover
EVSC.
EVSC, it's an electric vehicle service contract, does cover battery degradation. And it'll actually, it still requires an inspection just like any other VSC would. So we evaluate where it's at today and then what we're going to cover, going forward, right? It's a fully comprehensive coverage. It's unlimited on mileage. So if you buy a 3-year EVSC from us, it's unlimited on mileage. And so that way, if the consumer's driving it a lot, it's still going to be covered on that battery degradation, which allows you to sell a higher mileage EV as well.
Well, what you've sold EVs with 100,000 miles, but I saw something came out the other day where after 200,000+ miles, Tesla's battery was still performing about 80%. Isn't that what we saw?
That's pretty normal.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, but there are going to be failures, right? Like anything.
Well,
Even a Toyota motor fails every once in a while.
Yeah, I was going to say, people have a misconception about what their current vehicles really do, right?
Yeah.
How many 10-year-old vehicles with 100,000 miles do you see on the road today?
Yeah.
10 years old would be, and again, 30 years ago, you didn't see that.
That's right.
But so an average driver drives, between 12 and 15,000 miles a year. So a 10-year-old vehicle usually has about 150,000 miles in it.
Yeah.
So now put that in perspective, right?
Yeah.
And say, okay, would you buy that car today, and would you buy it without a service contract?
Right.
Right? And it's hard. I mean, I just bought a used vehicle for my son, and we bought one with 140,000 miles on it. I wanted $5,000 for some kind of protection plan on it, and it's like, okay, do I really want to do that, or would I rather have something that I can put something on it for a couple grand and put some kind of comprehensive coverage on it?
Yeah, and I know everybody's kind of new to this EVSC, have y'all seen a bunch of failures yet, or no? That's right.
I mean,
okay.
No more than average, right?
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. I'm really fascinated.
Yeah, this sounds like a whole episode.
It might be, but did you say this was made by Chevy?
This is Chevy, Chaevi.
Not Chevy, not Chevrolet, not GM.
Yes, exactly.
I saw the European plug in the back. So if I had one of these in my lot, I see it's got a credit card deal.
Yep.
I mean, so somebody could come to my lot, be about out, insert there, charge it, and I'm making money.
We can do RFID, we can do Apple Pay, whatever kind of payment you want to put on here, we can use. Cards is the most common because that's what people are used to doing today at the gas station, right? Or tap and pay.
So we've all heard the horror stories of charging outside of a Tesla charging network. Is it getting any better?
Yeah, it's a lot better. First of all, and matter of fact, we chose our software provider, Red E-Charging out of Detroit, because their primary focus was on giving the charge to the consumer when they show up, when they expect it, and what charge they expect. So everything else was kind of secondary. All the bells and whistles that like a lot of, I'll say, charging networks tried to put in that failed a lot of times, it was often the communication protocols that failed. So they just said, hey.
Software problem.
Yeah, they said dummy it down and just make it give a charge. And that was the first thing they said. So we're tracking at 97% higher, really about 98, 99% uptime. And this Chevy Charger, as a matter of fact, includes 3 years of uptime services, meaning 24/7 monitoring for 3 years right from the get-go. And they actually would tell you if it's down probably before you would know as a dealer. And they can reset the software hard reset, soft reset, or send a technician out to site if it needs it.
So my thought process on this, and I know we're going extra long on this, but it's really fascinating, is that you could build like a little lounge at your dealership, right? People could come, then you could sell them sandwiches, you could sell, whatever you wanted to do, and I think that'd be kind of neat. Anyway, enough of that.
Think about this. Dealers used
Lots of gas station.
Yeah, dealers used to do like free oil changes, right? If you bought a car from me, free oil changes or $9.95 oil changes was one of the ones I sold at. What are they going to do when it's all EVs or 40% of the market's EVs, right? Come back for a free charge once a month and we'll wash your car while you're waiting or something like that, right? I mean, that's a good way to get a consumer back to your store to build loyalty.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think it's the future, both from a service contract standpoint and from hardware at the dealership. I installed the level 2 charger 4 years ago at my place, right? Because I saw it coming.
Yeah.
But every dealer, this is going to be like having an air compressor, right?
Yeah, right.
Like you got to have an air compressor. You have to have an EV charger.
So
a level 2 at
yeah,
least.
we have a level 2 at our dealership, but the problem is we can't charge for it. You know what I mean? Like, so there's no way to convert it.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a software thing, but
but while the customer's there, and if you sold it, you could check their tires. Check the depth of their tires. You can check their wiper blades. All these things that you can do to sell more product while they're there charging. So I like it. Yeah.
Bill, thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you guys.